Hello, my name is Casey Jackson, and I hope you enjoyed my systems analysis presentation of the integumentary system. The integumentary system components consist of the hair, nails, skin, glands, and nerves. This presentation will focus on the largest organ of the body, the skin. The skin has two main functions. The first is to act as a barrier and protect the body from the outside world, and the second is to help regulate our body's internal functions. This includes protecting living tissues and organs from invasion of microbes in extreme temperature changes and dehydration. The skin also acts as a receptor for touch, pain, and pressure. Fat and water are stored in the skin to help regulate the body. There are three main layers of the skin, the epidermis being the most superficial layer. The dermis is deep to the epidermis, and the hypodermis is located deeper than the dermis. In the next slides, we will break down each of these layers. The epidermis covers the entire body surface and protects the deeper and thicker dermis. The epidermis is about 1/10 of a millimeter thick and is made up of 40 to 50 rows of stacked squamous epithelial cells. The epidermis does not contain veins or blood vessels, but does contain keratinocytes and melanocytes. There are 4 distinct layers of the epidermis. The deep layer is the stratum basal, which helps to generate new skin cells. Superficial to the stratum basal is the stratum spinosum layer, where Langerhans cells are found along with many rows of spiny keratinocytes. Just superficial to the stratum spinosum is the stratum granulosum, where keratinocytes begin to produce granules to waterproof the skin. The keratinocytes begin to die in this layer because of lack of nutrition. The layer of the skin superficial to the stratum granulosum is known as the stratum lucidum. This is the thick layer of the skin on our hands and feet. The dead keratinocytes make up the clear row that help to protect the other layers. The outermost layer of the skin is the stratum corneum. The stratum corneum is made up of many rows of flattened, dead keratinocytes that protect the underlying layers. The dermis is made up of dense, irregular connective tissue, nervous tissue, blood, and blood vessels. The dermis is thicker than the epidermis and is the elastic portion of the skin. There are 2 regions of the dermis, the papillary layer and the reticular layer. The papillary layer borders the epidermis, and it contains many extensions called dermal papillae. They protrude superficially towards the epidermis. The dermal papillae contain nerves and blood vessels. Blood flowing through these dermal papillae provide oxygen to the epidermis. The reticular layer is located deep in the dermis and is the thicker portion of the dermis, made up of dense, irregular connective tissue that is high in collagen and elastic fibers. These give the skin their strength and elasticity. This is also the layer that is known for us to feel pressure and pain because it contains all of the nerves and blood vessels. The hypodermis is the deepest portion of the skin. It is flexible and attaches to the muscles underneath. The hypodermis also contains blood vessels and fat cells. The fat cells are where fat is stored to help keep heat in and to store energy. The 3 layers of skin contain different cells. The epidermis is made up of 4 to 5 layers of epithelial cells, depending on the location of the body. The layers with more epithelial cells are referred to as thick skin. These are the soles of our feet and the palms of our hands. The epidermis is made up of fibroblasts and fat cells, and the hypodermis is made up of fibroblasts, adipose cells, and macrophage cells. Epithelial cells are all over the body and are often the first line of defense against viruses protecting the inside organs. Keratinocytes' main function is to keep out foreign invaders. They're also to help waterproof the body. Melanocytes are the skin cells that are responsible for pigment and the skin's color. Fibroblasts are common in connective tissue and play an important role in healing wounds. They also make the collagen fibers. Adipocytes store all of the energy, such as lipids and triglycerides, for the body. The dermis consists of dense, irregular connective tissue, smooth muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. The epidermis consists of keratinized, stratified squamous epithelial cells, and the hypodermis is made up of adipose and loose connective tissue. This slide is about the different tissues present in the skin. These tissues could be present in one or more layers of the skin, and each play an important role in the integumentary system. Stratified squamous epithelia is tough, impermeable, and self-replacing, and makes the outermost layer of the epidermis. The connective tissue in the dermis houses blood vessels. The connective tissue in the papillary region is loosely arranged with collagen fibers, while the reticular region is composed of densely packed, irregular connective tissue with collagen fibers. The smooth muscle in the dermis is located near the erector pili muscle. Smooth muscle helps involuntary muscle contractions, such as your hair standing up on your arms when you are scared or goosebumps when you are cold. The nervous tissue in the dermis has both motor and sensory fibers. This is also the layer that allows us to feel touch, pressure, and pain. Adipose tissue in the hypodermis serves to connect the skin to the surface below and also provides thermal insulation to the body. The hypodermis is also where fat and energy is stored. Sweat glands in the dermis help to maintain homeostasis by allowing sweat and other toxins out of the body. This happens when sweat is secreted out of the pores, and the pores are located in the epidermis. Nerve endings in the dermis help us to feel touch, pressure, and pain by sending nerve signals to the brain. Hair follicles begin in the hypodermis and extend upwards and outwards to the epidermis. The base of the follicles are attached to muscles that make your hair stand up when you're cold or scared. The oils in the dermis help to keep your hair, skin, and nails shiny and smooth. Fat cells in the hypodermis help to keep your body warm and also help pad the muscles and bones in the event of a fall. There are 3 types of glands found in the skin: eccrine gland, sebaceous gland, apocrine gland. The eccrine gland secretes sweat through pores found in the palms of your hands, soles of your feet, and your forehead. Sebaceous gland secretes oily sebum. These glands are found in the back, chest, scalp, face, and also in your forehead. The apocrine gland secretes sweat in canals along hair follicles. These glands are found in the upper arms, pubic region, and nipple area. Homeostasis is the body's ability to maintain a relatively stable equilibrium despite outside conditions. The integumentary system plays many roles in maintaining homeostasis. One example is how temperature plays a role in homeostasis. Temperature is regulated through tight association with the sympathetic nervous system. For example, when your body temperature rises, the hypothalamus sends a nerve signal to the sweat-producing skin glands, causing them to release water to cool the body. This is only one example of how the integumentary system helps to keep a relatively stable equilibrium despite outside conditions. If the skin cannot maintain homeostasis, my prediction is that disease will happen. One example would be diabetes. If a person has diabetes, the endocrine system has a hard time maintaining the correct blood glucose level, and if the diabetic does not closely monitor their blood glucose level, they could have problems with other systems, such as the integumentary system. If they allow their blood glucose level to become abnormal, the body can lose fluids at a faster rate. This could cause them to become dehydrated and can lead to dry and cracked hands and feet. Poor circulation, ulcers, and infection are also possible. Impetigo is a bacterial infection that affects the superficial layer of the epidermis. It is caused by 1 or 2 bacteria that enter the skin through an already open scratch or wound. While it is most common in children and on their face, anyone can develop impetigo anywhere there is an open lesion. Impetigo causes small bumps and blisters that burst, and the skin underneath stays moist, red, and tender. In most cases, impetigo only affects the epidermis. Erythema is a more serious case of impetigo that affects not only the epidermis, but also the dermis. It is also known as deep impetigo. A thigh bite is more common in people with diabetes, but it starts in the same way as impetigo, and that is with bacteria entering through an open lesion. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.